Hello there, welcome back to Passenger Pro. Today we're covering something that could seriously impact your next flight, the new airline carry-on regulations for 2025. Imagine this, you're getting ready for a trip, casually filling your carry-on with all the usual stuff, confident you've got everything under control. But here's what happened. Just last month at Chicago O'Hare, TSA pulled me aside and tossed out my full-size shaving cream, something I didn't even realize was over the limit. Everyday items you'd never expect can get flagged at security, and some of the new restrictions might really catch you off guard. On top of that, 2025 has introduced several important updates to carry-on regulations. If you're not aware of them, your travel plans could get complicated and expensive. So in this video, we'll go through what's new, what still applies, and how these changes might impact your wallet. Stick around till the end. I'll share the simple checklist I now follow before every single flight. If you've been flying through the UK recently, you might have come across news about loosened liquid restrictions at certain airports. I saw this for myself at Manchester Airport Terminal 1 last March, where to my surprise, I was told I could leave my full-size shampoo and face wash right inside my carry-on. No clear bag, no 100 milliliters bottles. It felt like we were finally moving forward. But fast forward to 2025, and there's a major change you need to know about. As of March this year, 6 UK airports, including Bristol, East Midlands, Belfast City, Inverness, Doncaster, Sheffield, and Cardiff, have brought back the traditional 311 rule due to technical issues with their new CT scanners. I learned this the hard way while connecting from London Gatwick to Belfast, and nearly lost a full bottle of my favorite aftershave because the second airport had reverted to the older rules. So what's happening in the rest of Europe? The EU had originally planned to get rid of liquid limits in 2024, but widespread scanner rollout delays have caused that plan to stall. As of now, every EU airport I've been to is still enforcing the same rule we've known since 2006. Liquids must be in containers no larger than 100 milliliters, all stored in a transparent, resealable 1-liter bag. Bottom line, the rule that's been around for nearly 2 decades is still very much in play in 2025. No matter what headlines suggest. My go-to approach now? I bring a compact kit of travel-size essentials on every trip, even if I hear that an airport has supposedly lifted restrictions. The reality is policies still vary wildly from airport to airport, and I'd rather be safe than end up watching security toss out a $40 bottle of moisturizer at the checkpoint. Let's talk about smart luggage, those suitcases with built-in batteries, tracking, and charging features. I picked up one in early 2023, thinking it was a game changer. But during a trip to Seoul last year, it almost ended up being useless. Here's the deal for 2025. Airlines are cracking down hard on smart bags that have non-removable batteries. If the battery can't be taken out, your bag could be turned away, no matter how fancy it is. This isn't just a random rule change. A string of lithium battery-related fire incidents on aircrafts over the past year has made carriers worldwide update their policies. I found out about this shift in the most inconvenient way. Flying out of San Francisco, TSA flagged my smart bag. Because the battery was sealed inside, Delta wouldn't let me board with it. I had to scramble last minute and ended up buying a replacement suitcase at the terminal. That was $210 I wasn't planning to spend. Still stings thinking about it. So here's your heads up. Check your smart luggage battery setup before you fly. If you can't remove the battery easily, you risk being stuck at check-in, or worse, leaving your bag behind. Honestly, what's the point of a smart bag if it can't even make it through security? These days, I recommend playing it safe. Either go with a traditional roller bag, or make sure you invest in newer smart luggage models that clearly label the removable battery feature. Let's begin with something nearly every modern traveler carries, the portable charger, better known as a power bank. These handy devices keep our phones, tablets, and laptops running during long flights. But in 2025, they've come under tighter security due to growing safety concerns. Back in February, I was changing planes at JFK Airport when I overheard airport staff discussing a fire scare on a domestic flight to Miami. Turns out a passenger's external battery pack had overheated mid-flight, prompting an emergency landing. The incident caught a lot of attention, and it made me double-check the power bank I was carrying. I realized I had no idea what the actual watt-hour rating was. Here's what every flyer needs to know now. If your power bank exceeds 160 watt-hours, that's roughly 32,000 milliamp hours, you won't be allowed to bring it in any bag, carry-on, or checked. These larger capacity batteries are considered too risky due to potential fire hazards. If you're carrying a power bank that falls between 100 and 160 watt-hours, around 20,000 to 32,000 milliamp hours, you can still bring it, but only in your carry-on and only with airline permission. I strongly recommend reaching out to your airline at least 2 days before departure if your charger falls in this range. They'll often ask for specs or labeling in advance. Now, if your power bank is under 100 watt-hours, around 20,000 milliamp hours, you're generally in the clear as long as it stays in your carry-on. Do not check it in your luggage. That's a universal safety policy. After seeing a passenger's power bank start to swell and smoke in a boarding area last year, this is something I take very seriously. Here's my go-to trick. I label the battery's watt-hour capacity right on the device with a permanent marker and store it in a side pouch of my backpack. It speeds up security checks, and more than once, a TSA officer has complimented me on being prepared. Flying with budget airlines in Europe? You'll want to be extra careful in 2025. These airlines are known for strict baggage rules, and if you don't pay attention, your bag might cost you more than your flight. Last summer, I flew with EasyJet, Ryanair, and Wizz Air using the same carry-on I'd always used. But at Ryanair's gate in Paris, they said my bag didn't meet the free baggage allowance. I had to pay 65 euros on the spot for a bag that had never been flagged before. Here's what's changed. Ryanair's free personal item limit is now 40 centimeters, x 30 centimeters, x 20 centimeters. That's about the size of a small backpack or tote bag, and it must fit under the seat in front of you. If you want to bring a standard overhead carry-on, say a small suitcase, you'll need to either pay for priority boarding or add a separate bag at booking. Tip: always check your airline's current baggage policy before your flight. Even better, take a screenshot when you book. It can save you from surprise fees or disputes at the gate. If you're flying Air Canada on a basic economy fare this year, there are a few important updates to watch out for. I experienced this firsthand while flying from Montreal to Calgary in February, and I have to admit, the changes totally caught me off guard. As of January 2025, Air Canada has tightened its policy for basic economy passengers. Now, you're only allowed to bring one small personal item on board for free, something like a laptop case, a purse, or a compact backpack. But here's the catch. If you plan to bring a typical carry-on suitcase, you'll have to pay $35 for the first one and up to $65 for each extra bag beyond that. During boarding, I saw at least 3 travelers get surprised with these extra charges right at the gate. And trust me, no one was happy about it. But that's not the only change. As of January 21st, the airline also stopped offering free seat selection with basic economy fares. Now, your seat will be randomly assigned unless you pay to pick it, usually between $25 and $45, depending on the flight and availability. This is a big shift from how things used to be, where you could choose a seat during online check-in at no extra cost. So what's the best move? If you're flying with Air Canada this year, either factor in these added costs ahead of time or take a close look at upgrading to standard economy. You'll get a carry-on, a seat selection, and often the price difference is actually less than what you'd spend paying for everything a la carte. Let's go over the key items you absolutely can't bring through security in 2025. Some might feel obvious, but trust me, I still see travelers surprised by these rules on almost every flight. Sharp-edged tools and cutting instruments are still off limits. That includes pocket knives, utility blades, and scissors with blades longer than 4 inches or 10 centimeters. Even compact toolkits or screwdrivers can trigger confiscation if they're too long or pointed. Weapons, or anything resembling one, remain strictly banned. This doesn't just mean real firearms. It includes look-alike toy guns, tasers, brass knuckles, and certain self-defense tools like tactical pens or metal batons. Flammable or explosive materials are a definite no-go. That covers things like sparklers, butane canisters, lighter fluid, and industrial-strength cleaners or degreasers. Even some aerosol cans like bug spray can get flagged and tossed out. Just a few months ago, I watched a family at Orlando Airport lose their kid's toy blaster. Not because it was dangerous, but because it looked too realistic. The child was in tears, and the parents were clearly frustrated. A quick check of the rules could have saved the whole ordeal. Now let's talk about some unexpected items that people often forget about. Old-school mercury thermometers are completely forbidden. They might seem harmless, but if one breaks mid-flight, it's a hazardous materials incident. I had one in a first aid kit once, and it triggered a full bag inspection at security. Go with digital versions. They're safer and travel-friendly. Planning a hiking or camping trip? Keep in mind that tent poles and metal stakes must go in checked luggage. Last August, I flew into Salt Lake City for a national park trip and forgot this detail, which meant repacking at the check-in counter and paying an unexpected $40 to check the bag. Small multi-tools are also commonly taken. Even if the blade is tiny or you forgot it was attached to your keychain, it's likely to get confiscated. Swiss Army knives, miniature box cutters, security agents are trained to spot them. Toy weapons, no matter how fake they look, are increasingly being pulled aside, from foam nunchucks to plastic pirate swords. If it looks vaguely threatening, it's at risk. I once watched a lightsaber get taken from a kid in full Jedi costume on a Disney-bound flight. It's best to stow anything even remotely weapon-like in checked luggage. Sports gear is another tricky category. Baseball bats, pool cues, tennis rackets, hockey sticks, they all have to be checked. A friend of mine had a small souvenir cricket bat taken away at Boston Logan. It wasn't even regulation size, but the rules don't make exceptions for keepsakes. And here's one more most travelers overlook: powdered items. If you're carrying more than 12 ounces or 350 milliliters, it may require extra screening or even be denied. This includes things like protein powder, flour, baking mixes, or even bath salts. I once packed a pouch of pre-workout powder in my gym bag and ended up in secondary screening for nearly 25 minutes in Atlanta. And lastly, if you're carrying heavy objects like electric drills, handheld blenders, or cast iron pans, those should go in checked luggage too. The general rule is, if it's bulky, metal, and could be swung like a weapon, airport security is going to question it. Ever stop and wonder why you're not allowed to bring a regular bottle of water through airport security? It's not just red tape, it's rooted in real safety concerns. Back in August 2006, authorities in the UK exposed a serious terrorist plot at London Heathrow. The plan was to sneak liquid explosives onto planes by disguising them inside soft drink bottles, targeting flights headed to North America. In response, the US and UK reacted swiftly, imposing an immediate ban on carrying liquids on board. I remember it clearly. I was flying through Boston Logan the day after the news broke. Security lines stretched forever, and I watched every bottle, spray can, and toothpaste tube get tossed into the bin. It was chaos, but it was necessary. Eventually, airports realized a full ban wasn't workable, so they rolled out the 311 rule that we still follow today. Liquids capped at 100 milliliters, all stored in a 1-liter resealable transparent bag, one bag per passenger. A lot of these airline regulations have real stories behind them. What seems like a harmless product today could be flagged tomorrow. That's why I've made it a habit to keep a laminated pre-flight checklist in my bag that I double-check before every trip. It's saved me more than once. Want to get through airport security without stress? Here are my 3 go-to tips from years of flying. 1. Always take a few minutes to review your airline's latest carry-on policies. 2. Pack with checkpoints in mind. Keep your liquids and electronics within easy reach. 3. If you're unsure whether something's allowed, it's better to check it or leave it home. That $10 souvenir isn't worth missing your flight. Got a wild TSA story or something weird confiscated? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear it. If this helped you out, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you don't miss future updates from Passenger Pro. Thanks for watching, and safe travels until next time.